Millie Weaver reporting for Infowars.com. Many people don't realize that during the Super Bowl, a lot of human sex trafficking goes on. It is a major problem that is only growing in number. Not only is it women that are being trafficked and men, we also have children that are being trafficked. I'm here with Amanda Seymour, who's the founder of an advocacy group called Deeper Love. Can you tell us a little bit about your group?
Absolutely, I'm glad to. We help with the awareness and prevention of human trafficking and abuse of all kinds because we believe that love is what is so important and it's missing, and that people need a greater understanding of the dynamics of abuse and human trafficking in order to be able to get their lives right, both the victims and the perpetrators.
So, how many people do you think are trafficked during the Super Bowl, and how exactly do these traffickers or pimps go about doing this?
There are so many people. A recent study indicated that in human trafficking in Texas, there are 300,000 people that they know have been trafficked in general. 79,000 kids and youth, and then the rest adults. And so when it comes to the Super Bowl, it's the same process, but it gets highlighted more because there's so many people coming here to have a big super party. That's what I think of it as. And people, whenever they think of, hey, I'm going to go have a party, I'm going to go live it up, and I'm going to escape from my daily realities and have a great time celebrating this victory, a lot of times they'll involve commercial sex, and they don't even realize what they're doing.
Wow.
They're victims who, whenever you see someone who is a prostitute or they are a sex industry worker that has been featured on Backpage or online or porn or in a nightclub or strip club, anywhere you see them, or your hotel, they have been forced, coerced, or manipulated to be there. And that's what most people don't realize. Prostitution is human trafficking, and any kind of paid sex is human trafficking. And so of these 300,000 victims that are involved in human trafficking, the sex trafficking industry is enormous. And you see it all around you, but the people themselves don't have a voice. And so our organizations all come together in prevention and awareness and intervention so that we can give a voice to them.
So, do you work with any victims of sex trafficking in your group? And would this be a good place to refer people to that anyone knows of that were victims?
Yes, absolutely. We do work with victims, and we point them in the right direction so that we can connect them with all the agencies in Houston who can help them. Above all, there's a great hotline. It's the Houston hotline for the victims of human trafficking, and they have a number that we'll talk about in a little while. But we always point them to that number because it's a 24/7 number run by Rescue Houston, and so many of our agencies are working together in collaboration, which is co-laboring to make this happen, because there is so much effort on part of the pimps. And you had asked, how do they do it? How do they recruit these girls and get them involved? Well, just recently I saw a situation on Backpage where there was this beautiful girl, and she looked about 17 with, kind of like you. She had beautiful eyes and long, beautiful hair and a bright-eyed look to her, and yet she was on Backpage being advertised as a 27-year-old who wanted to go hook up with men. And a lot of times, if you look at those ads, it's not the girls who have written them, it's the pimps. It's the traffickers, and the girls don't even know. So in the case of the 17-year-old, what we figured out, we saw these awards in the background of her photos and realized she's a high school student in her bedroom thinking she's just taken some pictures on Snapchat for her nice boyfriend. But whenever you are being lured into this, it's happening to all kinds of people. It's not only the vulnerable, destitute, poor girl that just got kicked out of her family. It's people like you, people like me. I've had human traffickers approach me in high school and college and graduate school. That's why I'm passionate about it. And thankfully, I listen to that voice inside that says, hey, this guy has a creep factor and I just don't feel right about it. I'm not going to go. But if you are a girl who is being manipulated or coerced what's going to happen is first they're going to be an older guy usually, and they're going to come to you and say, hey, I just think you're so beautiful and wonderful, and I love you so much, and here's some great gifts, and romance you. But then they'll start to get you doing things that your parents wouldn't approve of, and then they say, well, you know what, I just love you so much. If you love me, won't you sleep with these guys? Because baby, I need the money. And a lot of people think that people are sleeping with others, they're having sex that is paid for two reasons. One, because the girls want it, and two, because they get paid so well. But those are both myths, because the girls do not want to do that. They have been forced and coerced. So what the traffickers do is they tell the girl, hey, you know what, if you sleep with him and these guys and get me this money, then I'm going to do all kinds of great things for you. And then it never comes through. And then they start to threaten them and say, I'm going to kill your family if you run away. I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to break your legs. I'm going to coerce you into doing certain things. And so the girls become afraid. And so to me, what human trafficking really is, especially in the sex trade, is we have all of these political issues that we see that are real life crises, like the refugee crisis or terrorism. And you hear the voice of the victims going, hey, this is happening. It's got to stop. We're so scared. But this is a voiceless situation. And to me, it's a silent terrorism. Human trafficking is a silent terrorism that is happening. And so we, as organizations, have to give voice to these victims and let them know what's happening.
Exactly. And you made a great point that we do need to give voice to these victims. And many people don't realize that slavery still exists today. We think that slavery was abolished, and it sure was, but it's still going on today when we have children and women and even young men that are being trafficked and sold for sex in this country. Another question is, if anybody sees something suspicious, what should they do?
Well, the first thing to do is to learn how to look for something suspicious. And because you're not going to hear about it, you have to learn how to see it, how to recognize it. And if you see a young girl with an older guy and it just doesn't look right, or if you're at a hotel or one of these other places and she just looks like she doesn't want to be there, or you see he's controlling the money and he's got the money, he's got her cell phone, and you just have a bad feeling, you should call the hotline that we have in Houston. Call that number, absolutely. That is the best thing to do, and report it. Sometimes people will take pictures of a driver's license if they see a girl being dropped off by an escort or pimp. That always helps. You want to report the license number to this number. It's, even though the number is not our number, it's Rescue Houston's number, but we all use it collaboratively because it gets the girls to the right people so they can get all the restorative help that they need. But as far as consumers, I think that's another area that's really important, because if you think of it, if you know that you're a John, you're somebody who's buying sex, then people aren't meant to be consumed. They're meant to have companionship and love, and so are you. And so if you're a guy who's tempted to do this, just know it's just not healthy, and it's not what you think, and the girls don't get to keep that money. We had one case where there was a girl who had made $30,000 for her pimp, and she only got to keep $71 of it because for some shoes that he bought her. And that's happening over and over. The girls aren't getting paid well, believe me. They don't want to be there.
Wow, so it really is truly the definition of slavery then, because they're working and they don't even get to reap the benefits of their work. Given it's sex work as well, it's also, in a sense, rape when you're being forced to do something against your will. It's pretty amazing. What can we do to, kind of, I wouldn't say boycott the Super Bowl, but what can we do to minimize the effect that the human sex traffickers can have in this industry during the Super Bowl?
The most important thing is to minimize demand, because if there wasn't demand, then there wouldn't be any need for all these girls to do this. And so if you're a guy who's watching this and saying, I'm really feeling like paying for sex right now, or, and you're not even realizing that you've done that, just stop. Don't do it. Go have a regular relationship and endure the fact that it's not a fantasy, because there really is no such thing as a true fantasy. And so to come to realize that we all have to just have better relationships. And then also, there are a lot of people in Houston and around the country who want to get involved. Just this week, our group participated in the Justice Rally, which several organizations got together, and we went out into the city and helped with interventions, to make human trafficking facts aware to hotel owners and strip club owners in different places where they don't realize necessarily people are being held against their will, but we can do something to stop it. And so to me, it's the ultimate info war, because you have to absolutely get the information out there, because the girls are not going to do it. And there are transvestites and other people who are also trafficked, and guys are trafficked too, but it's mostly the girls. And
well, thank you so much, Mandy, for sharing this information with us. Make sure if you see any suspicious activity during the Super Bowl, during any of these large events, because that's where these traffickers like to flock to. They bring all these women and children and young men into these areas where these large events are. If you see anything suspicious, please contact this rescue hotline that's on your screen right now, because you could save a life. Thank you. This is Millie Weaver signing off for Infowars.com.
My fellow Info Warriors, I am very excited to be able to announce to you the introduction at InfoWarsLife.com of a new way to save time and money when you stock up on InfoWars Life formulations like Survival Shield X2 and Super Male Vitality. Just go to InfoWarsLife.com today, select your favorite product, click on Auto Ship before adding to cart, and choose how often you want us to send you another order. Every time you choose Auto Ship at InfoWarsLife.com, you get 10% off, and you won't have to worry about running out and having to reorder next time. And of course, you can cancel with one click anytime. As you know, I'm all about the idea of a 360 win, and the new auto ship feature at InfoWarsLife.com is a sure win for everybody. A win for liberty, a win for health, and a win when it comes to big savings. Visit InfoWarsLife.com today and save 10% on your next InfoWars Life order by selecting auto ship at checkout. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.